All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is June 17th, 2019. This is a Monday night webinar, and the title of tonight's webinar is Retrace Trades that Work with Alerts. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk, therefore there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar, other webinars we have, our live trading room, or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? And if not, we'll go ahead and get started. All right, I don't see any, so let's go ahead and get started here. All right, you should be able to see a normal chart on my screen. Now what we're going to do first off is the most important thing that you have to be able to do on your charts is just like I taught in that webinar a week ago. You have to draw on your charts. Okay, now if you got up in the morning, you know, for instance, this is before I trade, it's like 3:30 in the morning, something like that. So if you were to see this particular chart right here, where would you draw your support and resistance lines? Anybody? Because you always have to look to the left to trade the right. Okay. Now what I see first off, if I see a low here, and I see a little higher low here, and I see a little higher low here, little higher low here, and a little higher low here, then what I start doing is actually drawing on my chart. I'll draw a line at like 41. That's awful close to 39, so I usually just split it like 40. See, that way it's 41 and 39. There's only 2 ticks difference between that. So basically what you're looking at when you do that is you're looking to get these retracement trades. Now let's draw one here like so, and then let's draw our lightning one so we can see where we're at. Okay, now we're already above this one, so we're not going to be needing that one anymore. You're going to draw or not. There you go. All right. So I'm looking to the left to trade the right. I see resistance, resistance, and resistance, but they've already taken this resistance out. So we'll take this one off the table. We don't need it anymore. Everybody see that? Okay. So if this was to hit its head up here in this little sweet spot, then I would be ready more than likely to take a trade. Okay. Now that's how I diagnose it in my head first off. And then what we want to do is we want to see the actual chart to see what's happening with the bars and what color the midband is and things like that. But what I always like to do first off is I do like to draw on my charts. Everybody knows that in that room we draw on those charts constantly. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring over a chart. Bear with me a second. All right, and you should be able to see a chart. Okay, now we drew a resistance line right there at 39. We drew it also at 41, and then we split it, remember, at 40. So I'm going to draw it again. And this looks like a pretty good area. Predictor's also saying that it should roll over right here. So could I be ready to take this trade, and what direction would I take it? Anybody? What direction am I actually looking for on this chart? Well, right now we're looking still for short, right? We're looking down, right? Now, if this was to, I also like to think of this. Let's go ahead and draw this right here. I do like to think if they really thrust up and pulled back and kissed this and then took off, they could change trends. But this isn't enough of a pop up above that to change trends. And you already missed it as far as that goes unless you were to buy the support that was down here, you know, if you're going to be an aggressive trader. Okay, so what I would do with this particular trade now would be simply to box it in. Or you could actually even take it if it takes out support right here. So you would draw your region like so. We're not looking for longs just yet. If it does pop longs, you know, so be it, but not looking for long. And that's kind of what I see so far. Now you do have also diagnose your chart on the bigger move, high, low, lower high, lower low. So they could easily take this down further, right? Okay. And we are looking at a deep retracement trade, and it is perfectly hitting a predictor. So I would box this in. Okay, I'd put a tight stop on it, but I would box this in. And usually what I do is about a touch plus 2, something like that. Okay, and then we're ready for the trade. Okay, now also if you want, throw a little alert indicator on this chart. Is kind of sweet too, so you can see the swings. And you can draw your lines on it also. Okay, see how it's just hitting it right there? Also, if you think about this, that's a trend line, right? That's a little trend line that I see right there. So you could even do it as a trend line instead, right? Okay, so we're ready to take this trade, right? We're looking only to go long if this thing really pops up above this support area that was resistance and comes back and kisses it. But it would have to take out that phantom area, or at least get up in it and then come back to kiss it. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. So when you're looking at retracement trades, when you're trading the markets, you know, always make sure that you draw your lightning 3 most predominantly. Okay, because lightning 3 is really where they've been making those swings, and you know, when it takes 15 bars to do it, then that's a pretty important swing. Okay, for instance, if this was to decide to break 32, which is support, then more than likely it would head down anyway, and you'd probably get at least down into here. Drawing on your charts, looking left to trade the right. Okay, everybody see that? Now this particular little chart here, if you want to do it, all I did on this one was draw the alerts on it also. Okay, and the alerts are the bars, so you can't get rid of the bars if you use the alert, because if you went transparent you wouldn't see them, they wouldn't flash. Okay, all right, so let's see if we can get any kind of a trade. Everybody see how that's diagnosed so far? Now if you were up at that particular time in the morning, that's the way I would diagnose that chart. All right, you're in the trade. Okay, we look to the left to trade the right. We see where swings are. They've already hit that one. There's another one right down here. It's a little harder to see, but you can see those big dots pretty easily, like so. And then you've got another one down here. And you've got others right along in here. Now, usually when I see this like this right here, I usually kind of split it up, you know, just kind of look at the prices of those 4 dots and then divide it. But we'll just draw a line right about in the middle of it, just so we'll know if they're going to, you know, hit it and take it out too. And then you always go ahead and put your, whoops, sorry about that. You always go ahead and put your stop, or pardon me, your target, one of your targets way out of the way. Okay, and you know, just in case this was decided to really break down. Okay, now if we were in this trade right now, which we are, we would simply put our stop just above that swing, and usually I use exit on close. Okay, now you notice we're feeling a little heat, now we're not. Okay, felt a little bit of heat, but now we're not. And as soon as this breaks down a little bit, we will go ahead and lower our stop. Okay, now that's a really good way to trade this software, because you're going to find out that they're going to hit those support and resistance areas pretty well. It's amazing how on 4-range charts that they do these nice thrusts and retraces just like we draw in that room. Okay, let's see if we're going to hit our head. Should hit our head right there. See, 32. See, I had to check it. All right, now I'd probably go ahead and lower my stop just a little bit more, just in case, just right above that 32. So we're risking 6 ticks. Everybody see that? All right, now what I want everybody to do, if you can, is go ahead and get in the habit of using this little alert indicator here on the miner. Okay, now whenever these bars flash black, that's kind of hard to see on that red background, unfortunately, but I can see it flashing right there. That bar's flashing. Okay, and then what I do is just ride the trade down after that. Okay, now if you want to go ahead and take some profits, you certainly can. You know, like if you get up 120, you know, that's 12 ticks or so, you can go ahead and take one off the table. Okay, or you can simply draw your lines on your charts and take it off the table if it hits like that line, and you know, you get you a nice little scalp trade. Okay, because that's where we look for on this type of trade. We're looking actually usually right at line 2 to take some profit. It hadn't gotten there yet, and it may not. You know, we don't know if it's going to, but so far it's doing what we want it to do. Everybody see how we diagnosed the chart so that you could get that trade? That's actually just a deep bar probe, and all we did was boxed it in, just so that we fired it just right, basically right at midband. Okay, I'm going to try to take some profit down here instead if I can, if they blow through this line, that is. You could go ahead and tighten your stop a little bit more if you wanted to. We're only risking 3 ticks now. Now that's only if you want to go for the gusto. If you want to take some coin off the table, which, you know, I highly recommend most times you want to take coin off the table. Like right there, you could easily just go ahead and buy 1 if that bar closes up. If it closes down, just stay with it. Closed up, you could take 1 off. See, and then you're totally protected. And the most I could be down would be, well, let's see. Let's go ahead and bring our stop right there at that swing now. Exit on close. Okay, notice how it bounced right where we thought it would. They do this all the time, don't they? Just where you draw on your charts, they will bounce. Okay? And now we've got us a good trade going. What if you missed this trade? Anybody? What would you do if you missed this trade? You got to kind of wait. You've either got to take it and put a tighter stop on it, or you've got to wait for the thrust and the pullback. And thrust and pullback could be all the way to mid-band, or it could be a minimum criteria trade with our alerts. Everybody see that with the alerts? Okay, let's see what we got here. So far we've only got 190 bucks, but that's not too shabby anyway. And just ride this thing down. And watch your little black bars. See how the black bars are flashing and then flashing a little bit lower? When they do that, you can usually kind of put your stop like just above the swing. And then don't let the black bars get taken out or the swing for sure. Okay? And that's the way you can actually trade that. And you can also turn on your white bars if you want to, you know, the little short type trade, the little micro trade, so to speak, your minor trade longs and shorts. You can actually turn that on and watch for the little white bars too, and then that'll give you the idea of where they're retracing a little bit so you can get into the retrace if you missed the trade. Let me show you what I'm talking about there by using these alerts. Let's go ahead and let this, see if this will break. It's pretty slow. Speed it up a little bit. Still okay. All right, let me turn on those white ones. They're right down at support. Let me turn on the white ones. And you'll see actually that the little white bars will flash. See if we get a flash. See those little white bars? Now you can actually take that trade out on that little white bar if you want to instead. But what I like to do personally with these, let's say that you missed this trade entirely right here. Let's slow this down just for a minute. This is a good trade. All right, let's say that you missed this trade entirely. Remember the one I was telling you about that you could look for? This minimum criteria trade right here? Just turn on your minimum criteria, and that should actually, minimum criteria short, should be flashing. I would think it didn't close above it though. It did here, see it? There's your minimum criteria right there. So you could actually box that in if you had missed this entire trade. And that turned into be a good little trade too. All right. But what I like to do also, and I think a lot of people do, is turn on this little minor trade long and watch your white bars, because if they start stair stepping, then this trade's over. Okay. That's what I like to watch on that also, because you can get some really, really good trades by doing this particular way of trading. You know, diagnose your chart in real time. Make sure that you're always going with the direction of the trend. And by the way, oil, I don't know if anybody's actually trading oil, but your little phantom trade just came down to mid-band. So there was a good little trade there. All right. All right, now watch your little white bars if you happen to get white bars to see where to get out of this trade. See if we can watch that and use our little alerts to actually get out of a trade. Now notice that we wouldn't leave our stop way up here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use the little white bars to actually get out of this trade. See, my black bars are still flashing here and here. Okay, so if they take those out, you might want to protect this trade. You know, for instance, I could put my stop right across here with that black bar. Or I could see if I could actually get the white bars if they'll start stair stepping. So far, right now, it's still heading down. So the way these little black bars, see how that's kind of trying to bounce right there? Let's see if we get a white bar at all. And if you get a white bar, you can go ahead and get out of this trade. This was actually a pretty good trade. And it's still heading down so far. But I'll tell you another one to watch for. See that little hammer candle right there? That usually means that they're either done. See this little hammer candle right here, or the next bar rolls over. Usually that's the way that works. If this bar doesn't roll over, then you could pretty much be done. See where this little hammer candle is right here? See how that one went straight up and then that one went down, so you were still okay? But usually as a rule, if you get a hammer and an up like that, I'll usually end up watching at least that third bar and then pretty much being ready to get out. And you can put your stop just right above that black bar right there. Everybody see that? Okay. Now I was trading this morning, and I want to show you how you can also, I think Charles is going to teach about transition trades on Thursday. Because what you really want to watch for too is, you know, once they've done like a huge thrust down, to give an example, they're liable to head the other direction. And that's exactly what oil did this morning, by the way. Now, you don't just take it willy-nilly. You know, you've got to wait for it to get around that mid-band. You know, because there's really nothing to go long on right now, right? This is still heading down so far. Okay. And I'd put my stop just above that little swing right there now. Like so. Just in case they double bottom and they pop it just something like that. Notice that they didn't quite get down to our support level that we drew. Not yet, anyway. Always be ready to bank these things, though, because there's definitely, you don't have to give it up all the way back to mid-band. Okay? Mid-band on crude oil is 24 ticks from the bottom. I say that continually. Okay? Now, I'm going to fast forward this a little bit, and I want to show y'all something. Let's just go ahead and close this out. I want to show you something. This is when I woke up this morning. I didn't get up at 5 like I normally do. I was tired this morning. See that little white bar right there? See how you can get out of that trade even on that white bar? Now notice right here that you had a little rollover, okay? And we had our line drawn perfectly right where they decided to roll over. Now if you did short that, then be sure and take some coin, as you get your scalp, if you drew your line on your chart and you got your little rollover. Now I missed that one, okay? But here's another trade that we teach right here too. And I look to the left to trade the right, so I look and see where my resistance is. Let's just go ahead and get rid of this so we can look at resistance. Resistance is right there, and it's pretty close to right there, isn't it? So within a tick of it. So could you actually get ready to box this in if this did decide to break up? That's that transition trade we're talking about, and it happens all the time, by the way. Okay, so what I did this morning is I actually had my little region drawn, and I didn't get up till almost 6:30, so I didn't get a chance to get this little trade here. So I thought, well, you know what? If they decide to break up, I'm going to take a chance. Just put my box just a little bit above mid-band, like so, and I'm going to take one, and then if it decides to pop above it and stay above it and then rest and then go, I'd add. Okay? But now notice that I missed the short from the mid-band to begin with. So what I'm trying to do is see if I can get a transition trade, where this might go thrust, retrace, thrust, which a lot of times you do get. Okay? So let's fast forward this, and let me ask everybody in here where you might want to actually put that little box there. Notice how you're getting a higher low. I was watching that this morning. I almost thought about taking, when it just broke the bottom of the box even, but I thought, nah, if that thing rolls over, I'm going to get tagged. But if it does break this resistance area, which is right here where that wick is, then maybe I should take a chance on a long and then just not let it go against me. Okay? Now, is that basically a gutsy little trade? Not really, because see, you have a thrust, a retrace, and if it thrusts again, it's breaking resistance. Okay, that's that transition trade that Charles is going to talk about on Thursday, and I'm pretty sure that's the way he's going to teach it. Now, what I personally like to do if I get into a trade like this is I will go ahead and take one if it breaks, and then I'll box in again if it breaks again. Okay, I'll show you exactly how my trade was, and I could show you for real too because it's on my Top Step account. I actually did this trade. Just kind of chopped around. I thought, are you going to wake up anytime soon, oil? And it broke up, and then I simply moved my box to another resistance area like so, and if it went up again, I took another one, and you'll see it when it adds it. Of course, I put my stop fairly tight at the time because I didn't trust this totally, but I also knew that with that thrust down, I've seen this a million times. Everybody that's been trading a while has seen this, where they just shoot the bars straight down and then that's it, they're done. Okay? See, there's two. And then you could even add one if it breaks that little white candle to the upside. Put your stop nice and tight just under mid-band, like so. And now I'm only risking 9 ticks for a decent trade. Okay? And that's how I actually got that trade this morning on a transition type trade. And I mainly did it, like I said, simply because the markets decided to thrust that down really quick. You know, I've gotten almost where you just literally want to, when you see this thrust like that, you almost just want to hit the buy button. You know, once it does it, because see, this is exactly what happens right here. And of course, you could take one off. See, it's checking support. And then that turned out to be a pretty decent. Why did the chart keep doing that? That turned out to be a pretty decent little trade. Okay. Now notice how it came below line 6 and then popped right back up. That's actually a minimum criteria trade right there. Let me show you that one, because this is our new alert that does that. Minimum criteria long. See that little green, that little aqua colored bar? Came a little deeper, didn't it? Right near the predictor. Now I'd probably go ahead and raise my stop just in case, just under that swing. Okay, now we're not risking anything really. Everybody see that? And by the way, and then this thing's shotgun like that. Remember when we talked about this? We were actually in this trade in the room when it shotgunned like that. And lo and behold, it actually took it out then, because it literally shotgunned quickly. Everybody remember that? Now, what trade are you looking for now on the chart? How about another alert that we've got? And we talked about this. Remember, this is when the room opened right here. And a lot of our people shorted this trade right here. Shorted it. But then I also called it down here at Phantom. Remember? Because a Phantom type trade, and a Phantom type trade, keep in mind that what you really want to do is you want to get in this little sweet spot right here. You don't really want to take just any deep bar probe unless it starts stair-stepping back up. All right, but if you can get this trade into this little box right here, that can turn into a killer trade. And that's that first time into Phantom after a trend change. Let's see real quick. Does anybody have any questions on that? When you box this at mid-band, did you set it for longs only? You're talking about when I took this trade this morning with crude oil. Like I said, I didn't get up early this morning like I normally do. But, you know, when I sleep the weekend, sometimes my internal clock, I have to go ahead and, you know, get it tuned in again. I woke up at about 5, but I just go, went back to bed, you know, went back to sleep. And then when I actually woke up was 6 something, but I wasn't starting to trade until about 6:30, getting my computers up and everything. So I missed the little rollover trade from mid-band. So I just thought, well, maybe I can get a transition trade instead. And that's what I got. Now, if you were trading this particular chart this morning on this Phantom type trade, does everybody know how to box one of those in? Because a Phantom trade, what you're looking for, like I was saying, is you're looking for this little sweet spot. Now, keep in mind that you were already short, though, because we called this in the room this morning at 52.15. Now, notice I had a whole bunch more money than this, but I was trying to draw my charts and everything. All right, but anyway, we did short this in the room this morning, remember? And we had our stop just underneath this little swing here, and it happened to take it out from this little trade here. Actually, you could have gotten out here even on line 6, okay? But on your Phantom type trade, what you're looking for is just that little sweet spot in that box, and I'll show you how it almost always does. See how that predictor's saying that you're coming down right in that area. See there? That little box right there. That's actually where I called that trade this morning on crude oil. And you just simply buy it when it breaks the little box. Add some if you want to. Put your stop just underneath that phantom. I usually put mine inside the shadow just a little bit, just in case they're still trying to head down. Okay, and that little trade, by the way, with our alerts is like this. Show you that one. Phantom long. Flashes green. Everybody see that? You totally just flash green like that. Now that can turn out to be a very, very good trade. That's a deep probe type trade. That looked like to me about a 61% retracement if I remember right. And I think I called it in the room this morning. Just a little deeper than 61. And we also told our shorties that shorted 15 to protect your coin at Phantom, because if they started stair-stepping back with that Phantom trade, then there are people that actually would be short here and then cover their trade or even go long if it happens to take out this little swing here where my cost is right there. And you can even turn this on and watch for the first white bar, and that'll be a little swing break. Okay, and watch and see how that actually happens. This is actually a pretty cool way to trade. I called several trades today on Russell that came down deep like that, remember? Yeah, phantoms aren't for everybody as far as that goes, because you do have to absolutely know, how to trade them, and you want to take some profit right up there at that mid band. Anytime you get a phantom type trade, try to take some profit at the mid band, and you'll usually be pretty good on those trades. Okay. There's a little white bar right there, by the way. Now, usually when you get a trade like this right here, see how support's right here on the left side of the chart, right here where this dot is? You really don't want it to go much below that, because it could actually be not only a deep probe, but the shorties that actually shorted it up here where I called it this morning at 15 could actually, roll this thing over again. Okay. But a phantom type trade, what you really got to do with it, you got to pretty much, wherever it decides to start breaking up and stair stepping, you got to put your stop just underneath it. Okay, so we're not risking much on this trade at all, and we're just trying to get to mid band. Okay, and by the way, that can turn into a pretty decent little trade. They slop around a little bit, unfortunately. You'll see them slop around for 30 minutes a lot of times, but they'll usually end up being a pretty good trade. Now, if you're not comfortable with that particular trade, what you can do is you can simply wait for a thrust and a pullback, like in the mid band, to give an example, or even under mid band. This is your money band right here. This line 4 to line 5 to line 3. Let's go ahead and let this trade do something, and I'll show you, because this trade was called in the room this morning. And that's what these webinars are for also, is to actually teach people. I just missed that mid band. I was going to take some coin off the table. Usually if it gives you a second chance, you better do it. I should have done it then. See, they just go sideways for a long time. I think we'll be all right. See how they wick your swings? They're notorious for that. You can usually just put your stop just about 2 to 3 ticks underneath your swing, and you'll usually be protected, or you can put it on exit on close, and you're usually protected too. Okay. Now, what if you're not a phantom trader and you're more of a mid-band type trader? Okay. Let me show you how to take a trade. Let's go ahead and take some coin. The way to do that one is watch for your predictor or watch for mid-band. Now, to me, if I was watching this with at this time of morning, see your thrust, your retrace, and your thrust, I'm pretty much expecting them to come back and test right in through here, and they already did right there. Okay, see how they just kissed that right there? You can, and by the way, if you're more of a mid-band trader, that's the trade you could have grabbed right there. Everybody see that? And again, like I was saying, you can put your stop. You know, for instance, this little trade here is not heading up too well so far. You can tell it's just hitting predictor. Coming back to check support. It's bouncing. See how it just wicked it? That's what they do. If they don't take out that top pretty soon, you'd want to really move your stop, obviously. Like even below that white bar, to give an example, would be good. And always look to the left to trade the right. If they don't take out those tops over here to the left, you got to protect your coin. Okay, we got in way down here to begin with, way down here on that phantom. So we're actually pretty good shape on that. See how much better shape you are taking the phantom trade than you are up here? Because this more than likely is going to get stopped out. They're not taking that top out. And you can kind of see what they're doing. They barely took out the top. They're trying to take you out before they head this thing up again. And always draw on your charts and see where they're heading if they happen to take you out. Okay, they've already tested this right here. They have not tested this right here. Why does that keep doing that? Sorry about that, everyone. There we go. All right, we got stopped out. Now, what we're looking for on another trade is very possibly like a predictor type trade. But keep in mind, they double top so far. They haven't checked this support here. Predictor's saying it's going to come right down to here. Always keep an eye on those predictors because they do a really good job of making sure that you get a pretty good trade too. Okay, now we're not thrust traders. We already got taken out of this trade, so we're looking for another trade. Now, if this was to break up above 27 and pull back and kiss it, or kiss somewhere in here or even here, I would look for a long. But what I'm trying to get is one more like down in here where this predictor's saying. These predictors are looking at this price action right here, and they know by the particular price action where they're trying to come back to. Remember where we called this trade this morning right here? We boxed it in, called 11 if I remember right. Anybody remember 11? I got this going like 200 times, or no, 30 times. So where we boxed it though this morning was right here at 11. Remember that? Came a little bit below predictor, not a big deal. And then off it went. Now, always when you're trading, make sure that you know where it's going next also. Okay? Predictors are really good areas to watch for pullbacks into. And then box it in. Now, I got this going at 30 times. So basically, let me show you how you could also box it in. Let's go ahead and close this out. If you were to put a region right here, like so, with like touch +2, see there? It'll actually fire that even though it didn't touch my region because it's looking for touch +2. Now there's some of our people that got that this morning at 52, 14, and 15 because they boxed it in, you know, more like right here and they waited for it to break. Okay, now there's times that I'm a little bit more of an aggressive, so I like to jump in when I see it hit an area that I think it should hit and doesn't take out another area and then pops. Okay. Now, let me show you a little trick for people that are new anyway, because I called an exact out on this trade this morning, and this is important to learn. Look for a leg one. That's that transition trade that Charles is going to teach on Thursday, to where a lot of times, see, like this one here, if you box this in at mid-band, like right here at 32, and you took that trade and it got to 39 and it came back to 32, you just get out. But what about this one? You boxed it in and it just went. So could you have actually, even this trade, could you have actually gone ahead and bought this if it broke resistance at 32? And like I said, then it came right back down below it. So you could actually flip the trade, because that could have been a transition trade too. Now, I don't personally like them when they just barely go above and then they pull back quickly to begin with. Notice that this one did different. This one popped up and never even came even down to previous support like mid-band. It took off like a bird. Okay. So, anytime you get in a trade, just be ready to get out of it if it's not the trade that you wanted. Okay. Now, let me show you a quick trick here. People that are new in the room today. Usually, as a rule, on Elliott wave counting, you have what's called an A type trade, a B, and a C, leg one, leg two, leg three. And as a rule, you can pretty much take this to the bank. If they break this resistance area up here, leg one, leg two, leg three. And this trade was called out at 52 this morning in the room live, just simply with this. This is not like rocket science or anything like this. This is looking for an Elliott type of thrust, retrace, thrust. That's what we were looking for. And if you were in the room this morning, you remember this. This actually did go to 52. Perfectly to 52, as a matter of fact. 51, if I remember right. So could you bring your targets right in like that and try to get that type of a trade? See how it came down and kissed support again, just like almost a predictor. Put your stop in, obviously. Stop in even under swing. And you could be one and done for the morning with that trade. And did you know when that hit 52, that actually pulled back? And matter of fact, if you get in the habit of doing something like this, if they break, don't break it and then pull back like this, you could take a chance like that. Now, I would have done it up here, not where I'm at right now. Okay, because you'd have to put your stop like this right here. Because usually, as a rule, when they do that, leg one, leg two, leg three, they're going to pull back for leg four. Okay. Sorry, I leaned on my mute button. Everybody see that? Now, again, that would be a very gutsy trade, and the way I would do that one personally would be more like that. Literally, if they took out 52 and then they came back in the box and took it out, I would probably short the trade. Because otherwise, what happens is you end up trying to get like a mid-band trade, and what did this market do? Does anybody remember? I'll just fast forward this like 500 times. I'll show you. We'll just take this out of the way for right now. Never went back to that 52 again. Notice that it kissed the bottom of the box that I drew. That's because a lot of people did short that. Hacked and chopped, Robert K. Yes, it did actually. And we even talked about this little trade right here. Remember in the room where we got that little quick pop right there, and then it was right back in your face. Remember that? And then what did oil actually do after that? It pretty much just headed down all afternoon. So get in the habit of watching that type of thing. Thrust, retrace, thrust. And if they pull back, because any trade is a good trade as long as it goes your way. I mean, everybody knows that, right? And it's pretty amazing. That was also resistance over here where they dropped like a stone to begin with. So we had two things going for us when that trade was called. And that was that we had resistance right here, and we had the leg 1, leg 2, leg 3. These are like self-fulfilling prophecies is what they really are. You'll notice most times when you draw your swings and your lines on your chart, they're really just self-fulfilling is what they are. You know, if you draw fibs on your charts, you're going to find out that more than likely that's going to be a good swing, just simply because that's the way the market works. But remember that choppy stuff right there? Just choppy sideways for like hours on end. We closed the room. This is 11:42 in the morning, but it did finally break down. But let me show you what you'd really be looking for. We don't trade as aggressively as that, but if you did, that's what you'd be looking for. Now, what we're going to talk about now is where's the next trade on this chart? Let's see if we can figure it out. Okay, you have a high, a low, a lower high now, right? You've got support right here. You got support right here. Okay, so if they happen to break those, would they more than likely go back and kiss them? Let's see if we can figure out the retrace on this trade. We'll fast forward a little bit. Now remember, we're not, there you go, see you broke support. Okay, now what if you missed this trade right here? Let's just kill this trade. Where is the trade on this chart based on what we just drew? Anybody? Let's say that you missed this trade entirely right here and you don't really want to chase it, you know, because the moment you chase it is what? It's going to be the moment that it retraces on you. Because, for instance, if you were one of those traders that go, doggone it, I missed that, so I'm going to short it right here, don't do that. Because what will usually happen is that right there. See that? That's where they decided to retrace. So don't chase a thrust unless you box it. And then if it breaks the box, don't let it go back against it. All right? Now let's look and see if we can get in a trade based on what we see right now. We're going to watch for a predictor. See if we can speed this up a little bit. It's kind of slow. We're going to watch for a predictor. There's a predictor. Everybody see the predictor? All right, predictor's saying here, like so. I see resistance right here, like so. And I see resistance right here, like so. They're right at it right now. Now, predictors are pretty good at getting you in a trade, so I would probably, more than likely, just put a little box, like so, and wait for it to get up there and kiss that predictor. Now, if it did try to roll over right here, you might want to go ahead and take it, but I'd be careful because, you know, you really want to at least check, looking to the left to trade the right. The closest in your price in proximity is what I kind of call that. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but in other words, this is a swing that's close to this price. Not price-wise, this is, but this is closer as far as where it just came from. Everybody see that? So that's where I'm expecting it more than likely to come into, is between this area right here. Okay, let's see if it does. Rolled over a little bit, didn't it? Predictors are pretty good. That may not. Didn't quite go to predictor, did it? Let's see if it'll go ahead and go. There's another predictor right there. Well, we just totally missed that one. And the reason we did is it came to this line instead. So by me not turning this on right here, I missed that one. Okay? Now I drew on my charts the way I was supposed to. So let's say that you missed this trade entirely right here. Where's your next trade on this chart? Because now you're in a thrust. Anybody? Stealth? Line 6, let's draw on it. Let's see. Let's see where it's going. Here, it's already been. Here, it's coming to. And right here, looking to the left to trade the right. So what I'm seeing is if this was to decide to go ahead and come up into this little sweet spot right here, I would probably short it if it rolled over. Yeah, stealth can be a very good area. Matter of fact, see, that stealth actually touched that stealth right there. So I'd put a very tight stop just above that swing. I may have got that a little bit late. We'll see. See how it just kissed the area that I drew my line at? Within a tick anyway. Now, if you get in on a thrust like I just did, notice that I diagnosed my chart right. I just didn't take the trade. I didn't turn on the bottom of it. So I got my trade set up. I didn't quite go up to here, but I did come to here. Okay, so you got to be ready to take that if you see it happen. And this was actually a minimum criteria trade that you could have boxed in just the way I had my box. I just happened to miss it. Okay, but we got a trade that's working out, so we're good. Oh, wow. Wow, oil did a pretty good job. Now, what do we do, everyone, when they thrust like that? Well, we draw on our charts, right? We got to know where it's going next. We got a predictor right here. We got a swing right here, and we got a swing right here. That would be an area right there that I'd look for a rollover. Okay? Now, you'd like for it to go all the way to mid-band, but if you draw on your charts, you're going to find that you're also going to hit these micro swings a lot of times, and you can get a good trade. Let's see if we can get this one. At least predictor oil. That's good enough right there. See how it just came just close to my line and then rolled over a bar. I put a pretty tight stop just in case though, like so. Everybody see how I grabbed that one just then? I draw on my chart in real time. Okay, we know right where it was trying to head. That was predictor. There was my little swing. There was my other swing right there to the left. Now, is everybody getting a pretty good idea of how to draw the retraces on your charts and everything? Pretty good way to trade. Wow, that turned out to be a real good trade. Now, watch it. It hit a predictor. Anytime they hit those predictors and bounce like that, you usually want to watch that bar because I would have already probably gotten out of that trade. See there, it bounced right off the predictor. More than likely, we're going to take it out of this trade, even on our runner. Always watch for these bounces off predictors because you're looking for retrace trades, and we already thrust. Now, if this rolls over, we'll be okay anyway, but I would go ahead and tighten my stop. Now I'd even tighten it more. And there you're out. And why do you do that? Because that predictor right there, they're going to do like an ABC. More than likely give us another trade. What do you think? Let's draw on our charts and see if we can get the next trade. Got resistance. They're already above this one, so we're not going to worry about that one. And you got some right there. That's a little predictor type trade right there. Already missed it though, unfortunately. I drew my line, but I didn't get it drawn in time. Let's see, I will watch again to reinforce the concept, Dennis. Yeah, because this actually does work pretty well. Let's fast forward this a little bit. Let's see if we can figure out a trade. There's a little mid-band trade. Now, is that actually a transition trade, anybody? What do you think? You want to try it for 10 ticks? That's a little risky, but let's see if it works. So everyone, there we go, we got it. See, why we took that just then was simply that we teach to box in at mid-bands. Now, is this actually going to be a phantom right here? What do you think, a line 7 phantom? Let's try it. I'm going to put the stop just inside there, and let's see if we can get anything on that phantom trade. And if you get down to mid-band on phantom, you want to really take some coin. Oh, it just went to the end of the session. We're at, so anyway, that trade worked out too, didn't it? Okay, that was a little phantom trade. By the way, this phantom trade, what you're looking for in a phantom type trade is a line 7 trade. Try to get down to mid-band. Okay, I ran out of data. It paused on me, so I'm done with the webinar, it looks like. But anyway, that's as far as I had recorded. The data was to 5:16 p.m. Central Time. But everybody see that? So if you were to take a phantom type trade, just like we teach, at line 7, bar closes, you'd be in the trade just literally when that bar closed. Put your stop just above the swing itself. If they take it, they take it. You know, because this could be a trend change too, right? You just don't know. But so far, it's a phantom trade. Will it go down to mid-band? Does anybody know? I don't have any data. Anybody let me know if it came down to that line? I'm just curious. People are saying, yeah, it did then, huh? Okay. Then that was a phantom trade down to mid-band. Everybody's saying that it actually hit mid-band and bounced. Okay. That's a phantom trade then. Anybody in the room today not know what a phantom trade is? Anybody new enough that you don't know? Because all these trades that are taught here are simply different types of trades that we take. We teach a mid-band trade, long and short. We teach a minimum criteria trade, long and short. We teach a phantom trade, long and short. We watch for potential long trend changes and potential short trend changes with this little indicator, little alert. And then this one right here, you use to get out of the trade before you give up a lot of your profit. You know, for instance, if you would have shorted this on phantom, you got a black bar right here, you got your stop in still right here, you haven't gotten down to mid-band, but everybody's saying it did go to mid-band. And notice that we drew on our charts right where it should have hit its head. Did it bounce there, by the way? I'm just curious. People are saying it bounced there too. Okay. Well, then that's a perfect phantom trade. Let's see, instead of using a fixed stop of 10 to 15 ticks, would an ATR stop be better, Dennis? Well, yeah, definitely on your, you know, when I'm teaching in a webinar, I usually have to speed this thing up quite a bit. So a lot of times don't pay attention to my stop as much because these are trades that we've already called during the day, most of them anyway. And by doing that, I'm just trying to show why we got in on a particular trade. But for instance, if you were to be short on this trade right here, to give an example, I'd take all of my coin off the table if it bounced off that line. Because a phantom trade is either going to be a continuation to the downside on this case, or a continuation to the upside on the other case, or it can be a trend change. So this is another trade that we look for right here. Remember, we teach this trade every single day. Thrust, retrace, right to mid-band, and then box it in, right? I'm just curious on that. Y'all want to see that real quick? I'll take it off of the replay stuff and put it on the real thing. Let's just see what it looked like. Just 1 second. I'm going to disconnect market replay, and we're going to connect an actual data feed. I want to see that trade. I want to see if it showed up just where I said it would. Because if you learn to see where they're going to retrace to and where they're going to hit their head and draw on your charts, you will be pretty amazed. Look at that. There's where we drew our box just a minute ago. Now, would we have drawn our box lower again? If you shorted this phantom at line 7, took your profit at mid-band, boxed it in, and took a long, you would actually have 2 trades, short and long. And here's the way you would have done this in real time. Notice that this came down into my box, okay? And you could have actually just been long right here, you know, on this little box right here. Let me stretch it like so. And what I normally do if I get something like this, if they pop out of that box and back into it, I'll usually get out and then I'll redraw my box, and I would have more than likely gotten in somewhere just above mid-band. You know, would that have been a scalp the first time? Probably not, but you wouldn't have lost any money on it either, if they don't do it quickly against you. Okay, so this is real-time data right now. So if you would have boxed in at mid-band, you did get a long trade, and if you would have gone phantom, you got a short trade. Let's see, the size of the box is up to the individual as far as height. True, Kurt, on your question. See, the thing is, what you normally want in a box is like a 1, 2, 3 reversal, but I don't always go for a 1, 2, 3 reversal because it's too late a lot of times. But let's say, for instance, you were drawing on your chart in real time, and you know you see this thrust retrace right here. This is pretty much a wicked candle, so what they did is they checked. There was no body on it. See, there's no body on that candle. So they did check that swing. And when we draw on our charts in the room, we would have more than likely gone long above mid-band, got taken out, and gone long again. And could this run all night? Could. There's no way to know, but that was a good thrust retrace. So where's this trade going? Anybody? Well, if this is through retracing, it's going to do thrust, retrace, thrust. So it's going to do a trade like this. Thrust, retrace, thrust. Okay, and that's if this holds, and if they take this out. So in other words, leg 1, leg 2, leg 3. But always keep your stop in just in case it doesn't do it, because it's got to take out this swing over here to the left to do it, period. Okay? It looks like it's going to, actually, in real time. If you were in this trade from down here, you've got a good, you know, $200–300 trade already. Where's it going? Well, let's look. Got resistance right there. Look to the left to trade the right. You got resistance right here, which they hit just a little bit ago. And then you got resistance way up here. So if they break this, they should go to 52.14. And if they break 52.14 area, then they'll probably hit the top of that box. What do y'all think about trading like this from now on? Phantom trade, take your coin at mid-band. Box in at mid-band, take your coin as it goes up. If it would have kept breaking, sure, you would have stayed short. But it bounced right where our line was. Well, actually, our line was right there, but it still bounced very, very close to it. Okay, I think that's all I have. Anybody have any questions? We are in August contract now, Lewis, but since we were in the July contract in the room this morning, I went ahead and used the July contract for tonight's webinar. But yeah, I've already got my charts set up for tomorrow. Will be with August. Everybody be sure and change your equities to the September contract for absolute sure, and change your oil to 819. Okay, let's see. Did I miss any questions at all? Okay. Everybody have a great evening, and we'll do this tomorrow. And by the way, with as slow as it was today on like ES, I got a feeling ES will run tomorrow. You know, it was pretty slow and choppy. We still got two really good trade calls in the room this morning, but it was still fairly choppy. Wasn't a lot of money in it, in other words. Now, Russell ran like a house of fire. All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. And learn to trade just like this. Watch for the retraces to come to you. And will they come exactly? No. But if you get in the habit of really watching where the bodies of the candles are even, you know, where that one did a complete wick and no body, you can usually put your line, you know, where that was a thrust, retrace thrust, you can usually put it there and see they bounced right off of it. If that had a little bit of a body, then you put it like wherever the body was. Okay, looking to the left to trade the right. But that's right where it is right there. That was nothing but a wicked candle. All right, hope everybody enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the morning. Thanks for coming. Bye, everyone.